Hello, my name is Teresa Micheletti, and this site is called Take What Rings True. So, the whole idea is I'm going to give you some spiritual thoughts, and you can take what rings true to you and let the rest just go away. So, today I'm going to talk about how we're always being programmed. Society programs us, teachers program us, parents program us, doctors program us, and we program ourselves. One time I crushed my wrist. And when I went to the hospital, the doctor announced that I was going to have arthritis. And I said, no, I'm not going to have arthritis. We get programmed all the time. People have expectations and they expect us to follow them and be programmed. So, a friend played the piano and organ. She played an organ at two different churches and she hurt her arm. And she was told that she would never be able to play again. I think it was her arm and her hand that she hurt. Anyway, of course, she did not believe that. So she's back playing the organ at one of the churches again. So when someone tells you something, stop and think, is this true for you? Or do you have to accept that idea? Wilma Rudolph was a 5-year-old child who had polio. And she ended up with a paralyzed leg and couldn't walk and was prevented from going to school because you had to be able to walk in those days. So her mom would take her on a 50-mile trip twice a week to go to a hospital that would treat Black children. Eventually, she got a metal brace and was able to go back to school. And she didn't accept any negative programs. She just kept trying, kept going. Well, she ended up winning 3 Olympic gold medals in Rome in 1960, one for the 100-meter dash, which means she was considered the fastest woman in the world. Yay! So, just because someone tells you something, don't believe it. News and media often program us. They tell us it's flu season, so therefore we should be expected to get the flu. Hi, Hilda, nice to see you. And they tell us how long. This is the 24-hour flu. Well, then in your mind, if you get the flu, say it's the 2-hour flu and give your body directions. This is only going to last 2 hours, and then I'm going to be completely well, back to my optimum health. So program yourself in a positive way. We're also programmed to think whatever goes wrong, it's our fault, and we should feel guilty, even though most times the things that we're being blamed for are totally out of our control. We are told we can't do things because we're a certain age. I have friends who say, well, I'm getting older, so I can't do fill in the blank. Or they have aches and pains and just expect them to continue because they're old or they're getting old. Well, I don't accept that programming. I do my stretching exercises, I eat nutritious food, and I'm not in pain. Have I had pain? Yes, big time. I had my hip fused to my thigh bone and had to have surgeries. Although one doctor told me he could fix it just by cutting off 2 inches of my bone. It's like, no, that's not happening. So I didn't believe the programming. Also, I didn't have pain after surgery because I'm a hypnotist and I did a little hypnosis before, and you only need pain for medical attention. If you don't need medical attention, why do you need pain? You don't. So I told myself in my hypnosis before surgery that if I didn't need to have the doctor alerted by having pain, then I didn't need to have pain. So I didn't take pain medications. I didn't take opioids after surgeries. So you too can disconnect from the programming. You are a child of God, and you chose parents to determine your own DNA, your own genes, but you don't need to take on illnesses of the family. How many times have people been told, oh, Your mom has diabetes. Your grandmother has diabetes. Therefore, you're going to get diabetes. There's a story about a famous poet, I think it is, and I can't remember his name right now. And his whole family became mentally ill. But his best friend said, that's not going to happen to you. And he kept telling him that, you're just going to be fine. I'm going to be with you. You are not going to get mentally ill. And he didn't. But people's expectations allow them to be ill when they don't need to be. Hey, Linda, I can actually see your name. Hello. And so other people are talking too, but they have this wonderful little screen on top of your names. So hi, everyone. My friend Sylvia would say, if someone tells you that you're going to get ill because of family history, just tell them you're adopted. And then you don't have to deal with that anymore. So if you're very, very ill, sometimes doctors will tell you, you have 2 months to live. You have 5 months to live. You have 8 months to live. It's not written in a book somewhere. They don't have your life chart. And you decide how long you're going to live. My famous story, which I tell you all the time if you listen to me, is the famous physicist Stephen Hawking had ALS. And most people die in a very short time if you have ALS, but he had things to do. So he lived over 50 more years, 50. So just because somebody tells you that you have to die, your soul decides when to die. So your soul will decide when you're going to exit this earth. Sometimes we program ourselves. So say your mom had arthritis, your dad had arthritis, your grandma had arthritis, your great grandma had arthritis. So therefore, you're going to have arthritis and be in pain all the time. Well, then program not to have it. I must have had arthritis from the time I was in high school because I remember dancing. And then, they say, do you want another dance? And I'd say no, because my hips hurt, but I never, ever brought that to my conscious mind. I only remember saying, no, let's rest for a while or in a little while. But I figured out later when I was having hip problems, oh yeah, I remember. I would stop doing things because my hip hurt, but I never consciously thought of it. So I really was having some problems, but I negated them, just told them to go away. And I didn't have to have the pain, so it went away. So if they tell you, okay, everyone in your family's had asthma, you're going to get asthma, don't believe them. You set up your DNA, your genes before you come into life, and you choose a family to come into. This is my belief. You choose a family to come into that's going to meet those DNA requirements. So if you want to look Oriental, then you're not going to come into a natural birth of someone who's Black and not Oriental. You would choose a family or parents that would have a similar gene to the ones you've built in, and you decide what you're going to do. So stop the negative programming, especially the ones, I can't do anything right, or I am dumb. Stop listening to people's programming from when you were little. People would say that you're stupid, or people would say you can't do that. I remember math teachers saying, if you didn't get at least a B or an A in this class, then you would not be able to go to college. And I'm thinking, who made you God? And who decided that anybody got a C or a D in this, what was it, advanced algebra class or something, that you wouldn't be able to get through college? Programming. You program yourself to think, oh, I'm a bad parent. I'm not doing anything right. Don't do that to yourself. You're doing the best you can each day and just go on. So stop programming yourself and telling yourself negative things. I remember when I was in Australia, probably told this story before. I was sitting at a break or a lunchtime. I think it was probably a break because it was Australia. We're having tea. They stop everything and you have tea. So this lady was saying, well, she'd taken a bus to get to the conference because she didn't drive. Her husband had told her that she was not smart enough to drive. And I'm thinking, you're smart enough to come to this conference. You're smart enough to be able to drive. But she accepted that programming from her husband that she was not smart enough to drive. Yeah, I would not accept that program. I love Emil Couey's affirmation. He would say, every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. So simple, but effective and positive. If you say that to yourself every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better, then you're expecting the positive and you're programming for the positive instead of for the negative. I've told you this before. I asked to have a break because I'd been working 24/7 for months and months and months and months. And I just was so tired. And I said out loud, I need a break. Well, that's when I crushed my wrist. I got a break. One of my friends was feeling overworked. We were sitting having coffee, and she said, I wish I could take a break like Teresa. Not me, Teresa, a different Teresa. And Teresa had broken her kneecap. Well, be careful what you ask for. She broke her kneecap. So don't program for things you don't want. If you don't need a break, and now I say, I need a break in time, just a little vacation, just a little rest. And I don't ask for things that I don't need, like to break my wrist. Do we have bad weeks and everything goes wrong? Yes. Then say to your guide, help me get to the bottom of this awful time, and then I can come back up. Just expect that you could get better, that it's not your fault, that it's okay to have a bad week, a bad day, and just get to the worst of it. So if you didn't get the apartment or you didn't get the car, and that's all you think about, then you're focusing on the past. You want to focus on the future. Hey, hello, whoever you are. So focus on the future. Focus on the present right now. What do you want right now? If you are focusing on the past of what you didn't get, what didn't happen, what awful thing happened, then you're programming for staying in that point of view, staying in that feeling. And you don't need to process that feeling, process that emotion, see whenever else you felt that emotion, and then let it go and get on with the present. Be in the present. If you're programming only and swirling in the past, then you're not moving forward. So you know the saying, dress for the job you want? You're programming for that job that you want. So act as if whatever you want. So pretending that you are fulfilling that desire or that want helps you to get that. And if you don't tell the universe what you want, then you don't get it. Hey, Linda Stevenson. I don't know why I could see some people's names and some people's comments and others I can't. But thank you for joining me, all of you. Excuse me. We are programmed that we're not worthy of God. Well, God is our parent and God created us. So of course we're worthy. You aren't going to say that your children aren't worthy of visiting you. Well, God is worthy of visiting you because God is your parent and God comes to you multiple times a day. There's this sparkly, usually rainbow like mist that comes over you. Your spirit guide and your angel back away because it's a private time and they give you infusion. They give you ideas. Often we think, oh, what a great idea I had. Well, it was probably God or your spirit guide giving you infusion to help you get through your journey of life. So God visits you all the time. It's just we're totally unaware of it. but we do claim that great idea was mine, but often it's God. So consider God is with you every day and talk to God. You are loved by God. You are a child of God. Nothing can keep God from loving you unconditionally. God is love. Now, you are not your human body. Your energy spirit is much bigger than your body. So think of yourself, think of your energy, your true essence expanding beyond your body. You know how people talk about your electrical emanation, your aura. Well, your spiritual body can expand into that whole aura and more. You are much more than your physical body. When you focus on being beyond your body, then a lot of the little nagging things of life are not important. They just drop away, and you don't get as tired because you're not in this physical body. You're expanded, and your mind and spirit are outside of this physical body, and you feel better. I love it, love doing that because it just makes me feel better. And all the silly things that happen, the silly comments, the silly things people do, I observe them, but it's not important to me. They just drop away. It's like, oh, fine, whatever. They're doing that silly thing again. So we need to reflect and use positive programming for ourselves. Okay, say you are sick. Say you have cancer. Carl Simonton had the symbols of white knights fighting the black knights to symbolize white blood cells destroying the offending cancer cells, the outliers that don't need to be there. So if you're ill, talk to your body. Use symbols to get better. Instead of the 24-hour flu, the 2-hour flu. Instead of having a headache, say, head, I want you to stop aching. Talk to your body. We can program for better results. I probably told you this story. I had a feeling that I was going to be in a car accident. So I announced out loud that if I was going to be in any accident, it needed to be minimized, the very smallest amount of problem that I could possibly have. An hour later, when the signal changed, somebody ran the stoplight and almost ran into me. And then I was at a stop sign. The person in the left-hand turn lane next to me decided they wanted to be in my lane. So as soon as the signal changed, they hit the speedometer and thought they were going to be faster than me, but my reflexes are still very, very fast. So, of course, I was going the same time they were, and they did hit my car. But when I looked at my car, I honked, 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 and made them pull over. What happened was the very edge of my mirror has this plastic coating on a light. And there's a very, very, very small little nick in that plastic coating. That's it. It made a lot of noise, but there was really no real damage. So if you have an inkling that something's going to happen, then program for it to be minimal or program for it to be eliminated altogether, which I usually do. It's like, okay, if I don't have to have this, then make it go away. If I do have to have this, whatever it is, then I would like it minimized and the least possible harm possible. Francine, my friend Sylvia's spirit guide, would come into trance classes for years, and she suggested reprogramming your mind and using sleep time to reprogram. So before you sleep, if there's something you want to change about yourself to be more positive, maybe you have a shoulder ache, then tell yourself when you wake up, your shoulder will not ache. It will feel great. The doctor can't find anything wrong with it. Let it go. Maybe you're irritated by a coworker or a child that you have. Then program to have patience. And when you see them, you're just filled with love and reflect that love back to them. So program for something that's more positive. So if you're having an issue, then think of a way to program positive so that you're fresh in the morning and you have a better outlook for whatever that problem is. Now you are in control of your body, the captain of your ship. So say to yourself, I will not accept negative programming. I will be aware of it and I will be unprogrammable. You will not let others convince you that it's flu season and you need to get the flu. You will not get some disease the doctor says you will get. And you are not too old or too young. Of course, if you're 14, that doesn't mean go out and get your driver's license. Don't start driving a car without a license. I'm talking about society programming you, the news, the media, people telling you. It's amazing to me. People tell you how you should be, what you should do. It's like they are not in charge of your life chart. Like that math teacher who told us that, if you didn't get a certain grade in this class, then you wouldn't be able to get through college. It's like, no, what's wrong with you? So don't let the world program out your joy. Question programming because you have this job, or statistics say, or women always blank, or men always blank. Take time to stop and reflect. Just because someone says something to you does not mean it's true. But boy, are people willing to tell you what you should believe, tell you what you should do, and tell you what's going to happen in your future, although they don't really know. So remember Stephen Hawking's, even if you are very ill, does not mean that you have to die. You choose when to die. Your soul chooses when to die. So I've probably told this story before too. I had a hypnosis student who, like 3 years before, had been given last rites at the hospital. And she saw an angel come and ask if she wanted to live or not. And she got better. She chose to live. So even if you are ill and you don't see an angel, you can say, I want to live, or just know in your heart that you're going to live and get better. You can go into remission. You can get better. As long as you're still breathing and your heart's still working, then you can get better. So program for being joyful. Program for feeling better. Hey, Lori Hamlin, I could see your message. Hi. So remember Emile Coué's affirmation. Say to yourself every day, in every way, I am getting better and better. And stop listening to other people's programming. Thank you for joining me. And I'll see you next Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time to talk about some other spiritual thing. Bye.